It's still a bit night. Good morning, guys. Good morning. I don't know whether you can see it. There's paint on my glass here. So I don't think you can see it, but it is still at night. So I'm making breakfast for my husband. And the house is a mess, but don't mind about that. So, oh, it is even pouring down, huh? I'm making my signature egg. That is eggs with rice, and I've added some tomatoes, some onions, green chili, chili flakes, just to give it a little bit of, I don't know what, but that is it. So I'm making this for my husband, and we just woke up about 30 minutes, no, like 20 minutes ago, so. So yesterday the clothes didn't dry, that's why they're there, and now I'm just going to be picking the chili ketchup from the fridge, and I'll be topping that up for my husband because I love this signature egg of mine with the ketchup on top. So I believe my husband does as well. So usually I just pack it for him on a side, but then it's been pouring, like after when he's done eating, he doesn't close it properly and the bag gets dirty, like the lunch bag. So it's been giving me hard time, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to be keeping it in a side small container. I'm just going to be topping it on top of his whatever he's going to be eating. So I'm done, and now I'm just going to put this away, and then go wait for my husband to get ready and go to office. So here he is, just packing each and everything. I've already packed his lunchbox and his cup of tea in there, and that is it. How can you convince me over something that you don't know?
No, I look at you.
Bye.
Go to milk tea in the morning.
Milk tea in the morning. Done, done organizing the boys' bedroom. Seriously, whenever I organize this place, I feel so good and so proud. And now I'm going to go organize mine. And guys, we don't have power as well this morning because it was raining, and again I think it was cut off. So yeah, and Adash is here playing. Adash, say hi. Say hi. Hi. He's also going to be having omelette. This is plain, omelette with only tomatoes and onions. I didn't put the rice, right? I didn't use my signature egg egg style. Once I got done picking the milk, Abinash was so hungry and he was like, "Mommy, please give me what to eat." So he's eating his egg. Today he refused to use ketchup and he's saying it's so hot, but and then he also took some tea because I had already made tea before the milk guy came, and we didn't have milk in the house, and the only one that we had, Adash had already taken it, so that's why. And he was so happy to have tea this early morning, so he's here taking his breakfast. Today for lunch we are going to be having soya bean curry, and here I'm picking a bowl that I'm going to be using to soak our soya bean, because obviously you have to soak it before you use it, right? So I'm going to be using this bowl, and this is the soya chunks that I'm going to be using. And then I'll be using hot water, though we don't have electricity in the house. So you guys, I'm just using the torch of my camera, right? So though we don't have electricity in the house, I'm going to be using the remaining water that is hot in the flask because I want it to soak really quick. So here I've already added the hot water. I'm going to let it soak for some few minutes, and it will be super easy for me to use to cook, right? So this is how you have to cook your soya chunks. Rose is here washing utensils, so the light has come out a bit, and it's been 2 days. Rose is using her hands to clean the clothes. Yesterday we didn't have power, and then we didn't use a machine. Obviously she used her hands. Today the same thing has happened, and this is how she likes hanging Papa's shirt, like my husband's shirt, because she feels like if she puts it on a hanger, it becomes easier for her to iron. So our soya chunks have been soaking for a few minutes, and this is how it is, so bouncy. That is when you know that it is done. So we're just going to squeeze out all the water, and then I'll be cutting it into smaller pieces for me to be using in our curry. If I'm using it in our Ugandan, like katogo, the one I usually make for my husband, I think you guys have seen it. If you haven't, go check out in our previous videos. You'll see the Ugandan food that my husband loves. So in that kind of food, I don't cut it, I just put it whole, just like this, because in Uganda there is that food that is called katogo, and usually they use meat in it, and because we don't eat that, so this is how I've cut our soya chunks. And I've also pounded some garlic and ginger, because we don't have garlic and ginger paste, and there is no power for me to make that. And I'm also frying up some eggplant. So this is eggplant or brinjal, you can call it how you want to call it. I cut it into this shape, like round big shapes, because it was a very huge eggplant, and I'm just frying it both sides. I added some black pepper, I added some yellow powder, I added some red chili powder, and that is all I mixed together. And now I'm frying it in a little bit of oil. So as I said, all our ingredients are ready. Onions, tomatoes are cut, and I already pound the garlic and ginger that I'm going to be using, and the soya chunks are cut as well. So let us start our cooking. So first of all, before anything, When this is done, I'm just going to first fry the soya chunks. Like, you have to first fry them in a little bit of oil if you want them to be tasty. So I'm still going on with this eggplant, you guys. It was so huge, just one of it, and look at how many pieces I've gotten. And my husband loves to eat, the eggplant like this, and I love it as well. By the way, it's so healthy if you eat this, and the boys love it as well, especially Abinash. Like, it can eat only this with rice, right? So I'm done with this, and I'm going to continue frying that, and then after that I'll be frying out the soya chunks. Now I'm going to fry out our soya chunks. So I'm just going to be adding a little bit of oil in the pan. So usually the soya chunks like soaking the oil, right? So if I put a little bit more and then I realize it later, it has soaked the oil of it, while I'm making the tadka, like when I'm going to be frying the onions, garlic and whatever, I just put a little bit of oil, because once I add the soya chunks, they will produce the oil that is already in there, right? So right now I'm done with that, and I'm going to be frying them. As you can see, I'm just going to add them in the hot oil, and then I'll keep stirring it until it turns a little bit of golden brown. That is how I love it. And after that I'll be frying out the potatoes, because I'm going to be using potatoes in here, right? So let's fry this out, and then after all we're going to fry the potatoes together. Once the soya chunks are done being fried, this is how they turned out, and now we're just going to take them out and rest them on a plate until we need them. So you just need to fry them until they turn this color, and then I'm going to be adding a little bit of oil after taking out the soya chunks, of course. And then remember, our tomatoes and onions are already cut, but I'm going to be using these spices, and this is how the soya chunks looks like. I've already shown you, right? Once the potatoes get fried properly, this is how they look like. As you can see here, you just soak them a little bit in the oil. So right now we're going to prepare the spices we're going to be using, and we're going to be using some jeera. That is cumin, right? Cumin, black pepper, 4 to 5 black peppers, some cloves, and cinnamon stick, and 1 big cardamom. That is what we're going to be using as our spices. And then we're going to also add in a bay leaf. Like, we need only 1 bay leaf. This is what I'm going to be adding in now, and we'll be using some dry chilies. So usually I've been getting a lot of questions like, are those dry chilies not spicy? Yes, they are spicy, but then sometimes when you cook them thoroughly in the oil, they are so tasty if you take a bite on it. I know I'm sounding weird, but that is the truth. They taste good if you take a bite on it if they are fried properly in the oil, right? So I love using them in my curry because sometimes they are not spicy, sometimes they are spicy, and it depends on which type of spices you've brought. And then the other thing is, when you keep them for a long time, the spiciness reduces a bit. So we've already cooked up our ginger and garlic, and we've added our onions as well. We are going to saute it up until it turns color, right? So it has already turned color. We've added our tomatoes as well. Now we are using yellow powder, that is turmeric powder, some red chili powder, some cumin powder, and then we'll be adding some dhania powder, right? And we'll be cooking up all the masala properly until the oil oozes out of the spices that we are using, like of all the masala that we're using right now. That is when we are going to be knowing that the spices are ready to be used. So don't forget salt, obviously, to taste. Now we're going to cook up the tomatoes. I'm going to add a little bit of water so that tomatoes cook up real quick, so that it isn't our work. After cooking out all our tomatoes and onions and everything, we mix like all the masalas. You can see right now that they are ready. As you can see, the oil oozed out, right? So if it oozes out like this, just know that the smell that comes out of there itself is so good, like so good. It could bring you in my house to eat, right? So you're going to add in everything that you fry, the potatoes and our soya chunks will be added in here, and we will soak them out for some time, and then we'll be adding water to cook them up, of course. So I usually love using hot water because it makes the work super quick, like it cooks so quick. But since we don't have any in the house, this is why I love having a flask, and I love it always be having water, because you never know, like hot water, you never know when you guys will be having power or when you not be having power. But unfortunately yesterday Rose forgot to boil up water. That is why we don't have any water in the house, but that's okay, it happens sometimes. And I also boil it sometimes when I have time. So we have already mixed up everything. We're just going to let it cook. So our rice is done as well, and right now I'm just going to drain it out, like drain out the water out of the rice. So you guys know this is my favorite way of cooking rice. I know how to cook it the other way around, but I prefer this because this is what I've been eating in my Indian home, like in my home in India, right? That is the correct word to use, and I feel like it saves time. It is easy to cook. It doesn't need you to keep checking on it until you feel like I think it's ready. Especially the rice that I'm using right now. The rice we were using before is out of stock, trust me. Some Ugandan supermarkets are so annoying. Once they bring something, they don't bring it again. Like they take a lot of time to bring it back again, right? But it's okay. This is why we keep on changing. So the one we got this time takes a lot of time to be cooked, right? The other one would be cooked in a few minutes, like 30 minutes it will be done. But this one you need to cook it for about an hour, and it's so annoying. And even though you're done cooking it, it is still a little bit hard, which I don't like. But anyway, that is life. So I'm done draining out the water, and yeah, this is how our food is going to be looking like. So I'm going to fry out some pawpad. So I don't want to waste this because it is not good. It doesn't taste good. It looks good in that bowl and stuff like that, but it doesn't taste good. It is sweet, and I don't know, for some reasons we didn't like it at home. So I think instead of doing it this way, I'm just going to be frying it in oil. I think that will make it taste better. So I'm going to try that next time, but for now I'm going to do this because this is the only time that I have, and I have less time. So this is why I'm just doing this. I don't know if my husband is going to eat it or not, but we are crossing our fingers because I don't want to waste this. This is why I'm trying to cook it, and we finish it as soon as possible. So our lunch is ready, and this is how our curry looks like. I just garnished it with a little bit of coriander because I don't have enough in the house, so it really looks good, right? So this is how my husband's plate looks like. Some sweet, some rice, some curry, some eggplant that we've